Basics. We only have a few small house rules for today. We would like to ask everyone to please mute your cameras to save data and bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones to keep all the background noise to a minimum. If anybody has a question at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand or put it into the chat area. And then I think we're ready on our side. So over to you, Dr. House.
Thank you, Casper. Thank you so much. I see we're a team of 2 today, but hopefully the rest of the team will join the session soonest. All right, so really welcome. I'm assuming the recording is on and going, and so we can start. I was going to have a little camera on the side, but yeah, the camera's not working with the laptop. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We're here, and I can show you what we're going to do. So we've done building a robot. We've done, if I can just show you, building a really basic little Riley Rover robot with wires, with 2 motors, where the motors are just going for rotation, for navigation, but very senseless. We're going to, in 2 weeks' time, we'll add sensors to this little robot. So you have built this little robot, and you can navigate forwards and backwards, but that's about it. All right. And so Unit 4 is about another step. So to kind of introduce these lessons, I usually put an item in front of the robot, and then the robot's got to go and fetch it. Okay. But the robot as it is needs some redesigning, because if it's going to, especially if you've got like a slab of chocolate, it's not going to pick it up. It's going to drive over it, because there's nothing here. There's nothing in front to push the slab of chocolate. All right. And so what we're going to discuss today is adding attachments. So if you were to put say a bumper in front of the robot, then it can push something. Okay. Then there are 2 different structures where you go like this, where you kind of gather it up, or like the front of a boat, where you can like plow through something. So that is an attachment. So there we go. There's a sweeper attachment or a plow attachment. I've got another one is a box attachment. So it's just a box, and you can put things in it, and then the robot is able to push that. So this becomes a passive attachment, a detached passive attachment at that, because it's not attached to motors. And I'm going to explain that now. And the difference between a powered attachment and a passive attachment is the powered motor must have a motor. And if you have a motor to it, then you can program it. But that is not this week's problem. All right. So I've brought some examples. So this is a very straightforward, it looks like, it's a U, okay? But this is a passive attachment, because, so these, maybe I'll do it the other way around, so the robot's not on its head. All right, so there is the robot, and you can see there's 2 holes on the front there. So this attachment was designed, and it just clicks in. So it just fits into the front. So when the robot goes forward, it can actually gather up something. Maybe it goes forward and it gathers up some jelly beans, something like that. All right. So that is one attachment. I will show you close up when we're done. But it must be easy. Clicks on and it clicks off. It's not linked to any motor. It's just a passive attachment. All right. One of my favorite designs is this one. I don't know whether you can see it so well, but it goes over something. So it lifts up the gate, goes over, and then when it pulls back, the items that it's collected, a very good jelly bean collector. All right. So that's kind of where we're going to, just to kind of set the context of what we're doing. We've got a basic robot. We've built the chassis. We've programmed. We've done the navigation forward, backward, left, and right. Now we are going to make it do something. And so to make it do something, first step is to add a passive attachment. All right. So let me share my presentation. And let's go through the presentation. All right. It is very strange. Okay. There we go. Attach, share. There we go. All right. And I just need somebody to confirm that they can see my presentation.
It's coming through.
And you see it. Excellent. All right. So for all of you who are in this session, is it right, Casper?
Yes, Dr. House, I can see it.
Perfect. So you're on Unit 4 already. So well done. Well done. And I just want to also take this opportunity, when you finished your Unit 4 on the MOOC portal, we've got a research survey going there as an evaluation. We would love to hear from you. Tell us how, yes, how to improve the experience. We'd love to hear from you. All right. Okay, so that's the team again. I'm Patricia Gous, and Cabello's engagement, Anzani, Tumelo, and Nadine do the communications, and then Casper and Anzani are doing the analytics and the production. And we are on Unit 4 already, so we've come a far way since Monday afternoon, that's for sure. Okay, again, our navigation, I'm kind of hoping everybody has found the MOOC portal with the content. If you haven't, please email Tumelo and Nadine for the MOOC queries, and then Anzani is also for the general queries. You're most welcome. All right. 4 sessions done. This is number 4. Well done. Well done. All right. And we really would love to equip our robotics coaches, because if we have competent and confident coaches, that means we have competent and confident learners. And that is kind of our goal. All right. We've got recordings, and then you have to register on the MOOC portal. Okay. So the vision is really to build a robot, but to move along the basics and to go from basics all the way beyond. And I will hasten to add that we would love to see 3D printed and laser cut spare parts and components soon. So there's a journey. It's a journey, and you've got to start somewhere. And I would also just add a kind of a reality check. It's a lot of work, guaranteed. It's a lot of work. My robotics team that used to practice here, they were here every single Saturday afternoon. Yeah, they used to work from 2 till 5 on their robot, on their designs. But you know, it pays off, and so I'm hoping to get them back to come and help me share some ideas. All right, so we've got some. I'm going to introduce the engineering design process, and we're going to only do passive attachments. We'll do the powered attachments maybe the week after next. When you have an engineering design process, it's not ad hoc. Builders, engineers don't just go out and say, oh, today we're going to build the bridge from here to there, ping pong, and the bridge happens. There are steps, okay? There are steps that you need to design, measurements you need to take. And in our case for the robot, there are programming requirements, how fast, how slow, where, to what. There are constraints of how long do you have, what equipment do you have. There are always risks involved, especially for larger designs. And then, of course, you need to be able to explain the application of your engineering design process, okay? There are always specific requirements. All right, so Unit 4, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the M1 overview document can be used as your curriculum for robotics, to teach robotics, okay? There are 7 objectives that you need to meet for Unit 4. There's the bumper you need to build, the delivery box you need to build, the motion trigger that you need to build, the box trap you need to build. That's the box trap I showed you. A sweep, a hook, and then a carabiner, okay? Those are the 7 basic passive attachments that you need to build. And why do we teach building of these models? Because we're building a frame of reference. Our learners need to have a frame of reference on which to base their designs. Okay, so remember, we're going to every time improve these designs. You do need to be able to use these designs. So show us, how do you push with a bumper? How do you push with a delivery box? How do you dump with a motion trigger? How do you collect? How do you collect with a sweeper? How do you hook with a hooker? And how do you hook with a carabiner? You have to be able to program the models that you build. All right. So it's no use just building a whole lot of models and say, yes, it can work. You've got, the proof is in the pudding. You've got to actually show me how it works. All right. So here are some of the activities to build and program. Okay. These are just, so if you build a bumper, you cannot push all items. Pushing a empty water bottle is very different to pushing a full tin of condensed milk, for example. Okay, and then the incline, are you going uphill, or are you going downhill, or are you going on a flat surface? And then are you going on mat, or are you going on a very slippery tile? Okay, the delivery box, when you build the delivery box, it must not touch the wheels. Okay, so your delivery box actually needs to be designed to fit between the wheels of your robot, or you need to attach the delivery box maybe to a bumper. All right, then I'm going to show you now what a motion trigger looks like. Well, the robot has to go forward, but at what height? At what height? If you're collecting with the box strap, how big? What items must go into the box strap? Okay, if you sweep, does it have enough power to actually sweep the items? If you hook, you must approach very slowly and you must be at the correct height. Okay, and the carabiner is a wonderful, wonderful attachment, but it must be able to hook quickly, otherwise you've missed the point. All right, and I've just put it here. If the Tomelo is and Nadine are more than happy. If you can't find the UNISA MOOC portal, you need to please shout to them. All right, so I'm going to just pause a minute and I'm going to stop, change my presentations. Maybe I should do both my presentations quickly, and then we can ask some questions. All right. So let me share my screen again. Oh, I see we're getting lots of people coming in still, which is wonderful. All right. So this is the second part of the presentation. Okay, and I'm just going to ask somebody just to confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, it's going through. Yes, I can see it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so with robotics, it's great to design your own things on the one hand, and it's also great to use somebody else's building instructions. Okay, but what we want to do, what we really want to do, is to start out and say there must be a process. So take something you know and modify that, and then move on to designing your own thing. So here's a really cool link to engineering design process, because engineering apparently is elementary, says the link. All right, so we always have a goal. What is the goal? Well, the robot must go and fetch 10 jelly beans. All right, so you ask the questions. What's the problem? Have others approached it? What are the constraints? Well, the constraints are the jelly beans are 10 centimeters away from the robot. Okay, now you imagine, well, you can grab it with a grabber, but that's not going to work. Remember, we're only doing passive attachment. So we'll need to have maybe, if we go in with a plow, it's going to separate the jelly beans. If we go in with a sweeper, it'll maybe pull in the jelly beans. We might lose some though, all right? Then we need to plan, and really crayons, Cokie pens, paper, drawings. It doesn't need to be precise, but make a drawing that you, and let every learner do this. Okay, and this is also one of those 21st century skills. It's respect. You need to teach your learners to respect other people's ideas. Okay, this is not a cool thing for one learner to bully the whole team to say, this is my plan and we are going to build it. No, we need to consider all the thinking of everybody on the team. All right, then you create a plan and you build something, you test it. And here comes the honesty. If it doesn't work, well, then we improve it. Okay, what works, what doesn't work, what can we make better? Can we modify it? Can we modify that passive attachment to collect more jelly beans? It's like, oh, my word, that could work. All right, but there must be a process. And remember, it goes around in circle. Then you ask the question, so what is the problem? How do we change it? Blah, blah, blah. All right. When you design your attachments, you always think, oh, but I don't know what an attachment is. Well, that is why you have these 7 objectives. All right, build them first, and then you modify them. All right, don't build a haphazard higgledy-piggledy something. Build an attachment that exists. Build it from scratch. We did right in the beginning. We did on a Monday in the 3 o'clock session, we did the Lego Digital Designer. Build your attachments in the Lego Digital Designer. Build something that can be used, and then compare notes. All right. So there is a really cool tutorial, okay? And you can build your designs, or design your designs in Lego Digital Designer or in Studio. All right. I just want to pause here as well, because your team is not going to be a rookie team or a starter out team forever, okay? There comes a point where your teams can actually start building their most phenomenal attachments, okay? And I would like you to, if your team builds something really amazing, okay, designs and build something, keep that design and share it in the robotics community, all right? And if you have it in Lego Digital Designer, you download the Lego Digital Designer document. It's called an LDD file, and share it. Okay, we'd love to add it onto the MOOC portal as resources shared by. Okay, we will acknowledge your sharing. But if you have your own design that you'd love to share with the community, bring it on, bring it on. Okay, so there is a book called Winning Design, and this is for EV3. There was one for NXT, but my NXT version of the book is kind of falling apart because I've really read it cover to cover a couple of times. Traubach comes with this passive and powered attachments, and he explains it very well in this book. What is the difference between a passive attachment and a powered attachment? It gives you a whole lot of examples as well. The pictures, though, are just little pictures. So for me, a good start would be for your learners to look at a picture of an attachment and tell them to go and re-engineer or back-engineer it to make a design in the Lego Digital Designer. There's another book that I'm kind of popping up here, and it's called Lego Mindstorm's Idea Book. I'm happy to show that to you as well now. Those are a whole lot of attachments, and remember I said we're building a frame of reference for our learners. So that is maybe also an idea that you can consider. I'll show you some of the pictures in there just now. All right. So why attachments? Well, there's always verbs. Okay, so the robot can't just go move forward and move backwards. It's got to do something. All right, and a doing word is then the verb. So it must push something, pull something, collect something, deliver something, lift something, drop something, fetch something. Those are your verbs. All right. So if you just sit and think about it, push. If you want to push something, what would you use? Well, I would probably use a sweep. To pull something, probably a hook. Collect something, not a plow. You wouldn't collect with a plow. Maybe you can collect with a sweep. Yes. Okay. So whatever you've got as attachments, they must be linked to verbs. All right. And then you add that to the robot. And you saw when I added the attachment, it clicks on, clicks off. And that's the passive attachments, which we're going to consider. The powered attachments, we're going to consider in M2. And they become motorized. And that's a whole different kettle of fish. Right. I'm going to give you some examples of attachment that can be clipped onto or usually pinned onto, but pinned is not the right word. All right. There was a time when there was a really tiny robot and a huge attachment. That is kind of next level. You're welcome to interrogate that, but that's just a different way of doing it. All right. But the important thing is if you have a passive attachment, you have no additional programming. The powered attachment needs additional programming. All right. And there's a cool link that you can watch to see the difference between passive and powered attachments. All right. So introducing passive attachments. So remember, no additional power, so no motors. You have to do something, all right? And it must be easy to pin on. And we can examples of the plow, the bumper, the container, the hook. These are all examples. Okay, so I need to just explain. When we follow building instructions, it's clear learners know what to do. It's like step by step when you do building instructions. And it's straightforward. You just, well, it's not always so straightforward because you actually need to follow the instructions. Okay, but it's somebody else's design. So there might be a lack of ownership. All right. And it might not just be exactly what you want, but it's at least a start, and it expands the learner's knowledge. All right. I would really ask you to please follow building instructions, and then move the learners on to modifying it. All right. And that becomes the exploration. So that's when you brainstorm. Great creativity, great for teamwork, great for ownership, and definitely for creativity, expanding the creativity. What you don't want is that you are going to reinvent the wheel. And I need to warn you as well, it's time consuming, okay? It's not quite as straightforward as you think. And you must be very careful not to discourage our learners from investigating, okay? Let them run the full course and try something. Try it, absolutely. All right, so here is my little trigger attachment, which is going to drop. So if your robot was going to go forward, all right, then that pivot is going to hit on the side of my bucket, and then the ball is going to fall into the yellow bucket. All right, a straight forward motion. No programming. The robot just moves forward and it falls in. All right. Again, here it's kind of like a sweep. It's going to gather something or deliver. It can either push something or bring something back home again. So if it's in here, it can push and then you can reverse away and you've left something behind. Or you can go forward and then turn around and then you collect the items within the sweep. All right. So that is an option. Okay, and then I showed you, it says you can open a gate. I told you we can close the front part of this attachment with a gate, which will then keep the items in. Bumpers, oh my goodness, bumpers are well designed, all kinds of weird and wonderful shapes, but this is a bumper. It's actually linked to a touch attachment as well, so but that's just a different thing. But basically, if you go forward, it will push something. All right. So yes, there are instructions. The EV3 lessons have got some really cool instructions for passive attachments. One of my favorite passive attachments is when you build a modular test vehicle. It's an NXT vehicle, and it just encourages you just to share, put different pieces together and well, different configurations. So the one, if you put the different parts together on a modular test vehicle, that could be cool. There is a link for attachments for a competition robots. I would also like to say that there's a really cool video, and I'll share that also. Dr. Hino is one of the guys who does all the first Lego League challenges with just the Riley rover attachments. All right, so you've got building instructions and you can just use those attachments. It's amazing. Okay. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, but now this is the end. This is unit 4, and I'm really encouraging you to build all the passive attachments. Build them and see where that works. Okay, and then make sure that you submit the portfolio, and please complete the evaluation. That'll just be awesome. All right. And if you have anything to share, you're welcome to contact ISET on the ISET email. That's my email as well. But yeah, the ISET should be sufficient. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'd love to hear your questions or even just comments. Yes. Anybody. Attachments, passive attachments can be as weird and as wonderful as you need them to be. This was just a straightforward. It just needed to go and push something. But it had to keep it contained. If it was a little bit taller, you might need to build this up a little bit, so you push it, but it needs to be detached very quickly. Very creative for this one. All right. Any questions? Any hands up? Let me just check the hands up. Nobody's hands up. Okay.
Yes, we have one.
Oh, excellent. Hi. Tebogo.
Hello, everybody.
I can hear you. Yes.
How are you? I joined the session late. I was just trying to gather notes as fast as I can. Is it possible for us to get the recording of this? Because I'm really wanting to know about the trigger attachment.
Yes, absolutely. So all the recordings will be uploaded on the MOOC portal.
Okay.
Over the weekend. Okay.
Okay. All right then.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're calling from a science center.
Excuse me?
Tebogo, are you calling from a science center?
No. I'm currently at home.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Cool. So any of you who have done maybe a robotics competition, you will also know that usually you take the missions and then the list of missions, and then you divide them up into which missions are push, which are pull, which are deliver, which are collect, and then according to that you can build multi-purpose attachments. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Hi.
Hello. Anybody else? Anybody else got anything to add as comments? The building of passive attachments it can go a little further as well, because there is you can always use the spring release, so you can use elastic bands which is an exciting way of doing an attachment where you want to save your power ports for powered attachments that you need. And so sometimes you need a specific function and you can get away with a passive attachment. I know in last year's challenge, on the replay challenge, the robotics competition, there was just a whole lot of pushing. And so that you could build a really big attachment and then just push a whole lot of things. That's a passive attachment. Yep. It's be interesting if you can, maybe if you can also watch some of the robotics competitions online, you'll also see like on the YouTube videos, then analyze which of those attachments were passive, which didn't require any extra power. Okay. Anybody got anything to add? Come on, who's been building passive attachments? Who has had any experience of building passive attachments? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, Alexander. Hi, Alexander. Yes.
Dr. Gers, I've got a, well, this is the one that I've been building since yesterday. Okay. So it's got an active attachment on it. It's like a forklift, and it uses that sonic sensor at the front.
Okay. All right.
It will actually drive up to something, and then it picks it up, drives back, and yeah, it's been running on my table since this morning. Okay,
now you've got a powered attachment already.
Yes.
Seriously powered attachment, because I'm just going to leave it like that. Can you see on Alexander? I'm going to, if you can see on Alexander's attachment, just turn it to the front. There we go. So there are a whole lot of gears. He's like, yours next level, Alexander. You've got some, there we go. There's a motor attached to it, and you've got gears attached to it, which is going to make so here's, I'm just going to FYI. When you program a powered attachment, you have to program in time. Because with a powered attachment, you'll never know exactly where your attachment is. And if you give it a rotations number and it can't complete the motion, your robot is going to get stuck, because a robot is very obedient. If it can't complete the rotations, it ain't going anywhere. All right. Very, very. And this is your own design, Alexander?
No, Doctor. This is one of the designs that comes with the Mindstorms, the newer version, the robotics one. So, yeah. But I've sort of changed the code in it to actually do a pickup. It's supposed to pick up a small little red ball, but I've built a McGaffer here, sort of, that it picks up.
Thingy.
Thingy.
Awesome. Okay, so now we know what you see. It doesn't matter how big or how small, you need to have a function, and so that you needed that attachment. Thank you, Alexander, for sharing that. All right, so he's got a powered attachment. Okay, so your next challenge, Alexander, will be to build a passive attachment. You just push that thing. There we go. Excellent. Oh, so good, so awesome. All right, anybody else want to show us what their robot looks like? Anybody? Anybody? We've got a very quiet class here. I see KK is also in the class. Your classes design their own attachments.
How's everybody? I hope everyone is good. I'm sorry today I don't have my robot with me. And I can't really show anything, but I think maybe people are quiet because they haven't had the experience to actually have access to the robots. So I'm sure next week they'll be sending you cool stuff as soon as they come and join us for the practical sessions. I see a lot of the United Afunda coaches. I see a lot of Soweto in here. Shout out to Orange Farm as well. Keep going. Thank you so much. And hello to everyone.
So is this a challenge, KK? This is an invitation. Okay, KK's disappeared now. Anybody? All right. I think we're going to have to do some practical sessions. We're going to have to start building some attachments. Really look and build all those attachments that you have in your book. Build them and program them and see whether they work, and make sure that they are passive, that you've not attached them to a motor. Yeah, show us your designs. That'll be really cool. Okay. Anybody? All right. Anzani, are you going to post your analytics link again? Anzani? Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm unmuted. Oh, okay, thanks.
Now we can hear you.
As I'm speaking, okay, as I'm speaking to you, let me quickly paste. There we go. Okay. Hi again, guys. It's me again. This unusual voice at the live online learning. But I don't know if you can hear me properly. It's raining quite bad here. So we did this questionnaire type of thing whereby we want to ask you guys if you've joined alone, if you've joined with people.
Oh, we're losing Ansani here. Ansani, are we losing you?
So I've sent the link, answer, and respond to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ansani. Are you going to put the link in the chat?
The link is already on the chat.
Okay.
I've sent it.
Okay. There we go. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Anybody got anything else to share? Are we all good? We know exactly what passive attachments are, and we've got at least one design. So I just want to show you, this original design doesn't look like this. It was much higher, but we didn't need such a heavy attachment. Okay. We needed a lighter attachment. And it was, I think it was for the food factor challenge. It needed to collect a whole lot of fish, but the fish were well distributed. You can see it's quite a large area that it covers. So it had to go over some fish, lift it up, and then it pulls them back. If you had, it depends what the mission is, okay? And that's also part of the learning, where you take a given attachment and then you modify it for another purpose. That's also possible. All right. So share your attachments with us. You're welcome to share your pictures with us. Put them on the discussion on the MOOC portal. We'd love to see what you're up to with your learners. And it's been great with everybody here. I see Nadine is in the group. Nadine, would you like to close the session for us today?
Thank you, everybody, for attending the session. I hope you learned something. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you, Nadine. Thank you, team. And we will see each other again then in 2 weeks' time. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.